it with Ariel about RootsTech, and that was published back in January. And I'm actually planning on doing one with her about family search itself later on in the year. So keep an eye out for that one. So Ariel's a brilliant resource. She's the country experience manager for the UK. So she's relatively new in the role. So she's looking to make connections with lots of different people. Very enthusiastic, of a Portuguese background, and she's really kind and generous, and she wants to create focus groups. So if people are interested in actually doing that, she would love to hear from people in the UK about that. So I've been working with some of the local family history societies and connecting people up together.
And you also have a number of shows and conferences from the UK as well. The Family History Society, is that right? And
Family
are there
History
any of these programs?
Federation. Yeah,
Federation, that's it.
yeah. So the Family History Federation is like an overarching umbrella for all the family history societies. So they don't have to be the ones in the UK. So there are American ones, Canadian, South African, Australian, New Zealand. They're all members as well. And basically, they try and ensure that people are aware of what's happening. So they're sharing information, they're sharing knowledge, and that sort of thing. But alongside that, they've got a second website, and the name escapes me temporarily, but it was released last year. And that's more to help people in terms of resources. But if you go to the Family History Federation, there is a link to that one as well. And so that's where you can find articles or blog posts on researching particular topics, for example, on that one. So you've got the Family History Federation, but alongside that, a lot of the family history societies will run their own shows. So the
Hmm.
East Surrey one is a virtual one that's run in January, and it's two-hour sessions. And they basically use Zoom, and they use all the little breakout rooms in Zoom, and they have lots of different family history societies manning rooms. So you can go in there, and if you've got a query of some sort, you get personalized attention, and somebody can access the records because you obviously might be in a completely different place, and they have the local knowledge, and so they can then
Right,
help you with your queries. And then
right.
some of them are actually in person. So I went to the West Surrey one, which was in November. So that was in Woking in Surrey. And that's where various different family history societies, people selling different books, uh, Graham Bandy, who's a military historian, he was there. So lots of different people actually there. So you've got a mixture of in person and online. There's something, if anybody watched my Januki interview a while ago, there was actually mention of a calendar that's run alongside that as part of the same website. And forgive me, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but that's where a lot of the family history events are actually mentioned. So the family history societies will put their events on there, and it doesn't matter where you're based as long as they can do it time
Right,
zone wise. You can
right.
actually
Or
watch them.
tell us, what did you see that was most interesting and exciting and different this year?
Um, I saw so many interesting things that, of course, I have to go home and process it all because still on overwhelm. But what kind of interested me this year is that it seemed like a large proportion of the expo hall had everybody wanted to offer to make a book for you. So what I was kind of looking for as I was going through was, well, why would I choose one over the other? And there were a couple standouts to me. One had Ramento. Not only did it create the book like the others with the photo and your stories and memories and that sort of thing, but it has a QR code so you can hear the voices, and watch the audio of the original taping, which, what value is that in the future?
Right,
Especially after someone passes away, you still have the voice and the pictures and
right,
everything. So, and you have the book. And then
right.
another really cute one, they would take your stories and make it into a children's book. And for example, the fella showed me one that was How Mommy and Daddy Met. And they
Yeah.
make AI art, and it was just adorable. And I thought, what a perfect way to really engage kids with those family stories because it's not the boring, and then your grandmother was born here, and then so
Yeah. Yeah.
that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
And then sitting in on some of the family search upcoming tech forum and that sort of thing was real exciting to see what's coming up with family search,
Yeah.
and the
I
AI. It made me
everything.
think of another booth that we went to that was an AI. It's an AI genealogy program, but it's approached from a different angle. And the main reason I went to stop by is that it's been developed by a very well-known and very well-respected genealogist and her husband. So it's coming from a place of very serious genealogy research. And he's taken it, the husband has taken and built this program so that all of the AI is already programming in the background, and you give it your data and it looks through everything. It looks at the relationships between people named in documents, whether or not they were relatives, and then it compares that with all of the other things that you've provided to it, and it's doing a lot of that analysis that can be really long and tedious when you're doing it by, even just on the computer with a spreadsheet or that sort of thing. So that was really cool to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that moves forward. I think it was called Genealogy Genie.
Ah,
I think
yes.
that was the
I saw that, and I was struggling to come up with a name. I'll double check that and make sure it's in the notes from here. But
right. But I really wanted to point out, because sometimes you see these, having been to RootsTech now for 14 out of 15 years. You see a lot of companies pop up, and you can tell the difference between the companies that are popping up because, oh, look, I can make a buck off a genealogist, and those that are popping up with I'm a genealogist and I found this solution, so
yeah,
that's one of the things I wanted to make clear about them that people may
yeah.
not realize.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so often in technology, we end up doing a thing because we can do the thing. In other words, the technology, they invent the widget. Now, how can we use this widget?
Mhm.
As opposed to a genealogist who says, doggone it, I have this problem and it's making me crazy. Oh, here's a way to solve that problem. Those are always more interesting.
Mhm.
And yeah, I totally agree with you.
So I'm Tina Lafreniere. I currently live in Texas, in Central Texas. My genealogy that I do, though, is northern Indiana because that's where I was born and where my family was located. And I inherited from my Indiana family probably about 3,500 photographs when you count all the albums. And I was with my aunt, and my aunt said, "You take them because if my boys get a hold of them, they'll get pinched." I was around technology all the time, and I was like, this facial recognition thing, why are we not using this in genealogy? So this is like 2016, 17. And so I started trying to use it. Instead of having facial recognition where the variant can only be 3 or 5%, I want the variant to be, and for related faces, we use 40%. So this face could be 40% like this one. You are going to capture people who are not your person, but we're genealogists. We know how to go decline, right? And you can decline on my software. But what that enables you to do is to capture people at different times of their life. Siblings often look, 20% alike or so, and parent-child often look alike, especially when they were about the same age. And it gives you the ability to capture them.